I'm going to talk about productivity culture, everything I learned about productivity culture in the last 4 years. I started getting into productivity culture mostly because I'm very lazy. So I really got attracted to the idea of doing more work with less effort. Work bad, then work. Now, I started off really on the internet, quick Googling around, seeing what books are out there, and what sort of people were talking about most. So the first one which came up to me was Getting Things Done. Getting Things Done is a book which processes, looks at the process rather than anything else of writing lists and breaking those down into lists of context. So you write a list when you're home, write a list for when you're at work, and breaking those lists down into very sort of easy to do next actions. Very simple. And that is all the book really says. There's a lot of fluff around it, but what I took away from it is write a list, do the things on the list, tick them off, do the next thing. In contrast to that, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People looks at things from a completely different angle. This looks at character building and sort of the emotional structure to get things done. Now, the 7 habits themselves are very, very wordy. And they start off with habit 1, be proactive. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. 3, put first things first. 4, think win-win. 5, seek first to understand and then to be understood. 6, synergize. 7, sharpen the saw. They're all very wordy, and it basically just says do things, treat people well, and keep learning stuff so you can become a better person. They bred a market out of this, but they all say pretty much the same thing. Now, once I sort of read a couple of books, I then decided to spend some money. So I started off buying a couple of file faxes, and they didn't really do the job. You buy them, you buy all the inserts, and then it comes to me that that's not the most effective way of doing it. Moleskine notebooks, however, were the ones people were talking about. Moleskines are a particular type of notebooks which people get very excited about, more than they probably should. They're not made out of moleskin. But it's a standard way of writing, and people like them. Now, onto that, Hipster PDA, another very flashy sort of name, is actually a bunch of index cards bulldog clipped together. But again, people talk about this, people get very excited about the different books. Okay. Book about procrastination, I bought, I didn't get down to reading. I can't tell you a lot about that. It's genuinely sitting on my shelf. I read the first chapter. So there's a couple of other people who came up to me when I was looking. Tony Robbins is a life coach. He gets very excited about things, and he focuses really on getting you hyped up into doing the stuff you need to do. Now, on the other hand, Brian Tracy, I can't really tell you much about. He talks about the same sort of thing. He's very, very boring. But he does come into this whole culture because he does reference a lot of the people I've already mentioned, and he gets referenced by them. There's a very sort of network behind them. Now, one of the other things I came across was the 80-20 principle. Very interested in that. It basically says that for 80% of your output comes from 20% of your effort. So you spend most of your time actually faffing around with the last little bits, but you're very effective in a very short period of time. That means that if you eliminate what's wasting your time, you can actually boost your output considerably. So either by delegating things, eliminating the waste of time, getting clients who just phone you all the time and don't actually pay you any money, things like that. Tim Ferriss took this principle to the massive extreme. He claims he only works about 4 hours a week. And he does this by outsourcing absolutely everything. He sells a product which one company makes, one company ships, all his support is just outsourced. Through that, he's then gone on to he spends his time learning to tango, he's learning the ultimate fighting championship, and partying at Burning Man. So he's proved to a point that you can take these principles to an extreme and do nothing. Now, the reason I call it a culture is, as well as actually reading about these things, people talk about them a lot on the internet. There's a lot of websites out there which people talk about all these sort of things, but they get very excited about the discussion of them, but actually what's been proven is talking about getting things done and doing work is as effective as actually doing it. So the dangers you fall into, talking about something so much that you think you're doing a lot, but actually you've done absolutely nothing.